back. Welcome back. My voice is back. Praise the Lord. I do a teaching every Tuesday on Instagram. If you want to follow me there at mwils, I would love to see you over there and give you my teaching and do my Q&A over there. This is one of the most common questions that I get in Q&A, and I wanted to answer it here. And that's the question of, how did you know your husband was the one? And this idea, I think, of the one has been so romanticized, you know, in movies and all these different things, like, oh, I think he's the one. Ah. And in high school, you get those fluttery feelings, you know, with this cute guy that you met like last week, and you're like, oh, could he possibly be? And so this is something that people talk about so much, and the feelings and the thoughts, and you just think like, oh my gosh, how will I know when it's it? Which is a legitimate question. So I want to talk about a couple of the things and factors that helped me to see that Daniel was the one that I was called to marry, and why Daniel was the one that I chose to marry, because ultimately marriage is a choice. No one forces you to get married. No one forces you into your white gown. No one forces you down the aisle. You really, really get to choose to marry someone. And so these are some of the things that I took into consideration and saw as indicators that yes, Daniel is someone that I want to marry. Daniel is the man that I want to marry. The first thing is that Daniel was a man of great faith. I went on a lot of dates in my 20s with guys who didn't have faith, and I thought like, oh, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And I came to see how much it mattered to me and how important it was to me. And when I met Daniel, and as we dated in the dating process, I saw that his faith was something that he wanted to live, not that anyone was forcing him to live, that he was choosing to live in a beautiful and bold way. And that was really, really awesome, and something that I had been looking for and that I recognized and saw in him throughout the entire process of dating. It wasn't like he put on this little show for the first 3 months and then, 9 months later kind of tapered off. It was consistent. I also didn't want a man who tolerated my faith and my values. I want a man who joyfully embraced those and joyfully lived that same faith and those same values. And I found that in Daniel in a very deep and a very real way. And that was definitely something that was extremely important for me to look at in the dating process. Number 2, my husband has a servant's heart, and I saw that from the moment we started dating all throughout our dating relationship. Guess what? A great husband knows how to serve well. He is called to give of himself in so many ways. If you have children within your household, he's gonna have to give of himself to you and serve any potential children that you might have. And that requires a beautiful, selfless servant's heart, which is really hard to find in the world today, quite honestly. But I saw that from the beginning with Daniel. His servant's heart was amazing, and it was something that I had seen men practice in my own life, including my father. My dad has a beautiful servant's heart, and so I saw a beautiful example of that in my life, and Daniel lived in that same way of being unafraid to live selflessly and give selfless love, and that was really amazing. A third way that I knew my husband was the one and would be a great choice for a husband is that I never once asked myself, am I settling? On so many dates before and in so many dating relationships, that tiny little voice at the pit of my soul would ask myself that question, because I knew that I would say, am I settling? Gosh, I feel like I might be settling, and you kind of try and convince yourself that you're not. But I never asked myself that question. I had a concrete awareness at the beginning, and that I wasn't settling. And then 6 months in and 9 months in and a year in, I never thought like, man, maybe I'm settling. I had a deep awareness and a deep peace that I wasn't settling. There was nothing that I was compromising on that I didn't want to be. Everything lined up, and I wasn't asking myself that question. There was a much more important question that I was asking, because so many times before I had asked myself that question, am I settling? And when I stopped asking myself that question because I was not settling, I wasn't asking myself that question anymore naturally, because you don't ask yourself that question, even in the pit of your soul, when you are with a great man. When that question wasn't on the table, I had space to ask myself a more important question, which was, am I in the right relationship? Is this the right relationship for me? Which is a very good question to ask, and a solid question to ask when you're dating a great man. You ask, is this the right relationship for me? Because there can be two great, amazing people, But sometimes it's just not the right relationship for both of those people. Not because something is bad or horrible or the guy is horrible or the girl is horrible, but just because it's not the right thing for those two people. So I dug deep and I asked myself that question, is this the right relationship for me? I took that to prayer and I constantly asked the Lord, like, is this the right relationship for me? And I asked myself, is this the right relationship for me? Evaluating all of my strengths, all of my weaknesses, all of Daniel's strengths, all of his weaknesses. Is this the right relationship? And I kept coming back to that. The answer of, yes, this is the right relationship for me. And I had peace in that answer. There was no part of me that didn't have that peace deep down. Yes, I did struggle with fears about, what marriage is going to be like or things like that. I did struggle with fears for sure. But deep down, I had the peace of, this is the right relationship for me. So in considering all of these things, and there were many, many different things that I considered, but these are 3 of the main ones. I held that all up to God and I said, God, this is what I see. I see that Daniel makes me a better person. I see that I help make him a better person. I see that he has a beautiful servant's heart. I see that he's a man of great faith and ambition and character. Is this a man that you want me to marry? Is this a man that I'm called to marry? And God confirmed that for me, that yes, Daniel is a great choice for a husband. And God confirmed Daniel's choice of me as a wife in his heart as well. And we just felt that confirmation from God. And it wasn't like, oh, you're the one and this and that. It was like, oh my gosh, this deep conviction and awareness that this is what we're going to embark on. This is what God is asking us to embark on. This is the path that he wants us on. And we can choose to say yes, or we can choose to say no. And so together we chose to say yes. So do I think that there's the one? No, I think there's a lot of different people that you can choose to marry and you can choose to help that person become the best. But I think it's so important to step back and think about that choice. And I posted recently about critical thinking and using your brain in dating and in your relationships. And I considered everything in our relationship and we talked about everything in our relationship. But when I looked at my husband as a choice for marriage, as a choice that I could make to marry my husband, would he be a great husband? I thought about so many things, and I thought about him being a parent to our future children. Would he be a man that I can trust to speak worth and value into my daughters? Would he be a man, I'm gonna get emotional. Would he be a man that, my sons, if I have sons, can look to and see a man of conviction and a man of integrity and a man of character? Do I want to sit across from this man at a table for like thousands and thousands of dinners every day for the rest of my life? Absolutely. I never anticipated how much time married couples spend together, and it's so awesome, but there's so much time. Do I find this man interesting? I was choosing a man that I would wake up next to every day, and a man I would sit across from the table from and have conversations, a man I would experience the highest of highs and the lowest of lows with for the rest of my life, for as long as I live. And I thought, man, he better be a man of great character and great value and great integrity, right? If I'm going to give all of myself to this person and vow to love this person until death, I better choose a man of incredible, incredible integrity and character and virtue and faith. And that's what I saw in my husband. That's what I saw in my husband. My friend Father Mike says this about marriage. He says, marriage isn't about self-fulfillment. Marriage isn't about self-gratification, but about self-giving. And when I looked at my husband, I knew he wasn't afraid to give of himself. I knew he wasn't afraid to love me even when it was hard. I knew he wasn't afraid to be a leader. And all of those things roll together helped me to understand and to see that my husband was the one for me, that my husband would make a great choice for a husband. And that leads us to today. I'm Mrs. Hussam. As I reflected on this question that you guys have asked, those are things that I really thought about and considered, and that I think every woman should think about and consider. There you have it. I know that was a little emotional. These things are like, oh my gosh, depths of my heart and soul kind of stuff that, I consider, and it's different to say it out loud. You know it in your heart, but like it's different to say it out loud and share it with you guys. So I hope you enjoy when I talk about these things, this heart stuff and things that we should all consider in dating relationships for sure. If you like this video and like videos like this when I share about my little heart with you, please press like so I know what you guys like and want to hear more of, and so we can get a message of authentic love and joy and beauty and belief in oneself as women out to so many more women. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please feel free to subscribe. I will see you over on Instagram. Until next week,